Hello everybody, I am back here at the Cisco Press booth and I'm super excited. We have Kevin Wallace with us.
Hey everybody.
And we're going to be talking about his book, which is right there behind us. So I don't know if you guys have not seen one of our interviews here before, but make sure to share it with your friends, anyone you think might be interested in hearing some words of wisdom from Kevin. And what's also really cool is that you can ask him questions directly. Just put it in the comments. We will see it and we'll try to answer as many as we can. And we also love to see your little likes and hearts flying across. That's always fun for us to see. Now, I had a couple questions for Kevin. So how did you get into tech? I mean, was it always your passion? Was that your major? How did you get into this?
Well, I guess I kind of grew up in a tech family. My dad worked at the telephone company, so I kind of grew up in and around a central office, and I just kind of loved the stuff. And then I first came into contact with computers and started working with them when I was a senior in high school, so kind of a late start for me, but I loved it. And I thought, I'm going to be a computer science major. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'm talking to my high school counselor, and he says, well, you know, that's really hard. Maybe you'll do better at a 2-year technical college. And that kind of discouraged me, so I thought, all right, maybe not. So anyway, I got my degree in electrical engineering, but I kept gravitating back towards computers and networking. And at one of my big first jobs out of college, I thought I was going to be their telephone administrator because I had studied telephony a lot. But they wanted me to build from scratch a Cisco network.
Oh, wow.
It was like 1989. It was if anybody remembers this, it was an old Cisco AGR Plus. AGR Plus, so that goes back quite some time, but I fell in love with that, the Cisco Catalyst switches, and started doing more and more with that. Eventually took that skill set, went to work at Disney World because they needed a network designer, and I've been doing this training thing for, wow, about 17 years now, and writing books and doing training.
Wow, that's fabulous. Now, in your blog, in addition to technical topics, so guys, got to go find his blog, by the way. I know you cover, career strategies, and maybe you can help our viewers a little bit with that, because we have a whole range of people who'll be watching. People who are just getting certified, people who are out in the community are already certified. So that'd be really some great advice from you. Yeah,
and it's interesting that I get tons of questions coming in, and about half of them are career related as much as they are technical related. So well, let me give you the 3 big tips I usually give people. If you're going into that dreaded technical interview, a lot of people, you got the nerves over that. My very first hack for that, this is a strategy that I learned from Tony Robbins way back when, and it's to establish rapport. And this is if it's technical interview or any kind of interview. But when you go in there, he says that we tend to like people that are like us. So you want to kind of mirror and match
I've read about
what they're doing, have you?
Yeah.
And for anybody that isn't familiar with it, that means if the person interviewing you talks slowly, then you're going to talk slowly coming back. If they talk really quick, you're going to talk really quick coming back. And I had been doing that years ago when I was going on job interviews, and there was this one guy that was interviewing me. He had a very distinctive...
Oh, I just real quick have to read this comment.
Oh, sure.
First off, Sadiq says that they're getting ready for the Cisco exam, so we wish you lots of luck.
Oh, yeah.
Dare G is saying, Kevin Wallace, I use CCNP, route live lessons. The materials are the best.
Oh, thank you so
fantastic.
much. That is awesome. But this one guy that's interviewing me, he had a very distinctive way of talking. He would make a statement, and then he would say, he would nod his head violently, and I thought, okay, I want to match and mirror this, and I don't want to seem weird, so I would answer the question, then I would go, and he didn't notice. And he
didn't realize?
No, he did, and he offered me the job, and I turned it down, money and all that stuff. But then he calls me back a week later, and he says, "We want somebody like you." And I really don't think it was because of my technical abilities. I think it was because he felt I was very much like him.
Right.
Now, let's say, let me give you 3 tips. Tip number 2 is, I want you to go into an interview with some story of regret. Now, here's what I mean by that. And that is, a lot of times you get the question, tell us about one of your weaknesses. And some people do it this way. They say, my weakness is I'm a perfectionist.
I work too hard, right?
Exactly. And I get upset when people don't live up to my standards. You know what? Don't do that. That comes off as super insincere. What I would do instead is I would go in with a real story where you've actually made a mistake and you've learned from it, and you let them know that, okay, that's not going to happen again. Here's a super life lesson that I've learned, not going to happen again. And the 3rd tip I would give for any job seekers out there is, when it comes to technical interviews, the biggest challenge, because you might be awesome at routing or switching, but you're going to go into a company and they've got their own little specific technology that they're interested in. And well, it's like when I was interviewing at Disney. I was an NP at the time, and I knew about EIGRP, but they had EIGRP running on hundreds of routers, and they were really into it. So I didn't know everything I needed to know about EIGRP. So here's what I recommend you do if you get in that situation. Just bridge that to another topic. I talked about EIGRP, and that reminds me of this time I did this really cool thing with BGP. So have a set of stories that you can share. So if they ask you about a technology that you're not super up on, you can just bridge it over to something that you can tell an awesome story on. So those are the big three. Again, have a story of regret, be able to bridge and do that rapport. And as that guy said.
Yes, I agree. And then we have, Darji was saying that they just passed their CCNP routing and switching. And then someone, it just went up, I can't read it all, who it was, but says that you're one of the best authors out there, and they watch all your videos and keep up the good work.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
And then Darji is saying that you are smart and good in presenting the topic easily, and they really like you. So
hey, Darji, I really appreciate that.
Great fans out there. That's awesome.
Thanks,
okay,
Jess.
so now one other question I have. You know, the whole debate between degree or certification. Can we have your take on that?
That's a tough one. I'm a big fan of college. My daughters are in college. I've got a degree, like I said, in electrical engineering. But on the other hand, when I was going after my MBA, I dropped out of MBA so I could pursue Cisco stuff. So I think there's pros and cons. It depends on your current stage of life. For example, with the degree, I got my first job because I had that degree. I don't know where and that led to the next job, and that led to the next job. So I honestly don't know where I would be if I didn't have that degree.
Right.
However, I get a lot of people coming to me that are career changers. They're in their 40s and they want to get into networking, and I really don't think, in most cases, it's good to spend 4 or 5 years trying to get a computer science degree or something where you are taking all these electives. For those people, I think, yes, it's going to narrow the pool of potential jobs that you might be able to apply for, but by going after the certifications, number one, you're going to be able to focus on the stuff that you are really interested in. You don't have to take all those electives. You can get it done quicker, and you can get it done, well, a lot of times it pays more. I'll tell you, here's the tipping point for me. I said I dropped out as an MBA, and here's why. I was about halfway through my MBA, and I read a statistic. It said that on average, an MBA is going to make $65,000 a year. Not bad. Then I read a CCIE makes $125,000 a year. I thought, okay, that's something to consider. But the real tipping point was, I don't know if you've heard of the movie. It was the Tom Cruise, Paul Newman movie, The Color of Money.
Oh yes, I love that movie. That was a good movie.
And in that movie, the Paul Newman character is telling Tom Cruise, he says, Fast Eddie Felson, I think is Paul Newman's character. He says, if you can be the best at something, anything, then rich can come fairly easily. Rich can be arranged. And I got to thinking, you know, I'm not going to be the best at anything, but if I can get in like the top 1 or 2% of Cisco, if I really apply myself hardcore to this, I could do that, and I would enjoy it more. So dropped out of MBA school and don't regret it. So
that worked out. Yeah, it worked out very well.
It worked out. So to quickly summarize that, there's not a black and white answer, but I would say in general, if you've got the luxury of time, if you're young coming out of high school, if you can afford it, then I would get a degree and get your CCNA while you're in school, and then just you can go into the job market with that degree and a certification. If you're a career changer, I want to consider going after certifications first. Okay.
And we had a hello from Afghanistan, and we had someone share our video now to their page so their friends can see too. So thanks to them for that.
Thank you.
And then we have a question here from Sadiq saying, what resources do you consider for preparing for Cisco exams? And I mean, I know we have great study groups on the Cisco Learning Network, lots of free videos, all kinds of really nice resources. Is there anything else in particular that you might recommend?
Yeah, it really depends on what kind of learner you are. Some people, they need They need the printed word in front of them. They need to be able to flip back and forth and make notes. If you're in that case, I mean, there's lots of great Cisco Press books that you can turn to. If you're a visual learner, what I've been mainly focusing on lately is doing video courses. So if you're a visual learner, and that's me actually, then yeah, you can go check out some of the different courses that Cisco Press has available on video.
Okay, and then yeah, they're asking about videos here for CCNP Switch 300, 115. If you go to the Cisco Learning Network, we have a huge video library in there. Did you do one in particular on that yet?
Well, I did one through Pearson, sort of the sister company of Cisco Press.
Okay.
But yeah, if you just go to my website, you can see all the videos I've done. It's kwtrain.com. You can see all the Cisco Press stuff I have out there. It's all consolidated for you.
Fantastic. And then it seems like there's some career concerns, with the popularity of network programmability.
Oh yeah.
And I would love, for you to talk about, because some people are concerned about their jobs, and they might be replaced. So, what's your take on that whole?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest question I've received over the last year. People are saying they're hearing about SDN, network programmability, and they're thinking, am I wasting my time by going after an ENP and routing and switching? They just feel like they're not going to be relevant anymore because I'm a big fan, first of all, of network programmability. It's going to allow you to, instead of going to device to device to device and configuring them one at a time, you can have a program that can reach out and speak to a controller that can just blast out the configuration to multiple devices. Here's an example. Just maybe last week I was working on the Cisco APIC EM controller, and there's literally an easy button on it.
No, you're kidding.
It says Easy QoS. You press Easy QoS, and it will blast out a best practice set of quality of service settings to routers and switches. That's a game changer. That's huge. So I think we definitely need that. But here's what I think. I went back and looked at what it did to the router, and it was very robust and complex what that easy button did. I think you're going to have an advantage in the industry if you're able to know what all that means, if you're able to go in and tweak it and explain it and just really understand it. So I would say that I don't think it's a waste of time to get your route switch certification at all, whether it's NA, NP, or IE, but I want you to get the competitive advantage of going ahead and learning some network programmability. And it was kind of like Chuck Robbins was talking about in the keynote this morning. He put up on screen, he put up a slide of these new technologies that people are going to have, and we're going to have network programmability. So I would not be concerned about your job if you take this opportunity to do a little pivot. Yeah, I would say that most people have to learn programming, not just route switch, but I was talking to somebody earlier, and it's showing up in the data center, it's showing up in collaboration. Pretty much any track, you're going to need to know a little bit of network programmability to really be competitive in the industry.
Okay, and thanks. We had some more people share our video here, and also love all the little hearts and likes that are flying across. Now Ed is asking, what are the top 2 Cisco fields? Ooh, shoot, it went too fast. I think that the question was the top 2 fields that I think that there's not enough people in, and then someone else is asking about your advice regarding it's their last year of their computer science bachelor's degree, and they're also going to take their CCNA. So how is that?
Okay, so let's do the one. Now the first one was asking.
Kind of, I think the top 2 certifications that you feel like we need more people in.
Gotcha.
I'm guessing you're going to say security is one of them.
I'm going to say security is one of. I'm going to say security is one of them. Specifically, I think cybersecurity is huge. I heard a statistic that over the next 2 years, there's going to be a shortfall of cybersecurity experts by the millions. There's going to be like 2 million cybersecurity experts that they just don't have.
So we did that scholarship,
Yeah. So cybersecurity, that of course is going to be huge. And I would also, again, network programmability, that's got to be on your must-do list.
Fantastic.
Let's see, and the second question was?
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
Well, I said it now, but now I forgot what was the second question. Wait a minute, I was concentrating so much on, I know, both of us. Okay, too much Cisco Live here. Okay, we got to remember I'm sure it'll pop into my head in a minute.
or maybe they can type it in again.
Oh, it was. Oh, I know it was. It was. They were just going to get their degree plus the CCNA, and they asked
awesome.
you. Isn't that a great combination?
Yeah,
I would think that's perfect
I love
storm.
that. Yeah, because you're going to come out and you're going to be armed with that degree, and there's a larger pool of jobs that you can go after if you've got that degree, because that's a prerequisite for so many. So awesome on that, and I think it's a good use of your time while you're in college to get that CCNA. So you're going to be that much ahead of the pack. So fantastic strategy.
Fabulous. And then I understand, don't you have a new video coming out about network programmability? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Oh, you bet. Yeah. Cisco, I'm doing it for Cisco Press, but it's going to be on getting people into this world, because there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt when it comes to this, because people like me, I've been doing command line interface stuff since '89. 25 years I've been doing this, and now suddenly in the last 2 years there's this big paradigm shift where I got to be a programmer, I got to be a coder. Yeah, you do. but the program I'm developing gets somebody that has some experience, or you're brand new to programming. It gets you up to speed. Just a real quick overview of it. We start out and this is all video based. We start out in the first module by just letting you know what is SDN, what is DevOps, what's JSON and XML and Yang data modeling all about. We get all the terms. Then there is an entire module just on Python programming, and it'll give you the basics of what you need to know. Then we've got another module on how you do network programmability using the APIC EM through the GUI, as well as writing Python programs. Then we move on to the APIC, which we find in data centers, and that again, we're going to do it through the GUI. We'll do it through programs, and then we wrap it up with the module where you don't really have to have a controller technically to do network programmability. We're going to show you how you can telnet or preferably secure shell into these devices, and you can do network programmability even without a controller. We'll talk about netconf. It gives you a great foundation to build on, and you're going to be able to be conversant when it comes to network programmability. And that's just you gotta be conversant in these days.
Okay, and we've got one, Kevin. Do you think that there is no need to read 10 40-page end-to-end QoS book because of easy QoS technology?
Yeah, first of all, QoS is my absolute favorite topic in all of Cisco. I've taught it for many years, absolutely love it. So I think, that Indian QoS book from Cisco Press, it is fantastic. I definitely read that. Now, let me give you an idea of what Easy QoS does. You get to go in and say, here are the applications that are important on my network. I do video, maybe I'm using EIGRP as my routing protocol. You just say what's important to you, and then it just, using best practices, says, all right, here's a policy, and pushes it out. And it's a really good policy, but you need to understand what's going on in the background. I would not want to just do that for all my equipment. I would want to be able to say, oh, I see what they're doing here. I'm actually going to need a little bit more video bandwidth because they don't know about. We do these video streams periodically, so yeah, I'm a big fan of learning the foundation. You just got one extra job now, and that's to learn the programmability on top of that.
Okay, then we have Peter asking why the official cert guides don't cover all exam topics, even the blueprints. They say, is this a trick so that people who are trying to cheat don't know?
Yeah, that's an interesting topic. Just to give you a little behind the scenes, within Cisco, there's the exam group, and sort of in a separate silo is are the people that are writing the official certification guides.
Right.
So when we write, I'll just give you my experience. When I'm writing an official certification guide, I'm going by Cisco's blueprint, and I try to hit every topic on that blueprint. Now, what you might be saying is, yeah, maybe a topic is troubleshooting GRE, and you go into the exam and you find a GRE question that's very tangential to what is discussed in the book. We talked about the topic, but I, as an author, I have no idea
what's exactly on
what exactly is going on there. So there's a big misconception in the industry that if you study, you should always be able to pass on your first attempt. I've found that's just not reality in most cases. So here's what I do. I go into my first exam, I get thoroughly prepared for it. My first attempt, if I pass it, fantastic. But if I don't, I try to look at that as sort of, I was talking about somebody earlier about this, it's sort of an exploratory attempt. So now I can go out and say, here's what I didn't know.
Yep.
I'm going to go research those things and kind of build onto that. But I hope understanding that I'm not writing the questions, I'm not looking at the set of exam questions when writing the book. That might be where you're seeing that little bit of a disconnect. But I think that's okay, because you're going to be able to understand at a more fundamental level what these technologies are all about. And if you're asked something extra on the exam, hey, you get to go learn about that too.
Yeah, and I hear that over and over. I mean, I don't think I've interviewed really in the last few years I've been doing these interviews. Everyone says that you usually don't pass the first time. And I mean, some guys that, have multiple CCIAs are like, oh, no, I take it twice or, more. So you don't feel bad about that. Then we had somebody who was asking if they thought, and I'm sorry because it moved up, if having, I believe it was CCNA and CCENT was enough to get a good job.
That I think it's a great foundation. What I would do, because this varies all over the world, but here in the U.S., if you go to Indeed.com or Monster.com or Dice.com and just type in CCNA, see what the demand is right now, see what the locations are around the country, see what the salary are, and that'll answer your question. In different countries you probably have different job search sites, but go on and just see what is the demand. Now, of course, that pool of opportunity is going to expand once you get your NP, and it's going to get even broader with the IE. And I get the question a lot: should I get a bunch of NAs at the low level and be diverse, or should I go deep? Personal opinion, I think there's a lot more reward in going deep, because what you're able to do is going to be rare, and it's going to be more competitive in the industry, because many fewer people are going to have that than any one of your CCNAs. So I would recommend picking a track that you love. I wouldn't try to pick the one that's necessarily going to be the most popular in the industry today. That's going to change. You're going to be spending so much time with this. You want to love it.
Yeah.
When I studied my CCIE collaboration, I spent. I tried to keep track of it. I spent 1,600 hours getting ready for that lab. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my career, by the way, to pass that. If I didn't love that technology, I wouldn't have made it. I would not have finished my study. So yeah, pick something that you love and go after it.
Okay, great. Well, I think that was pretty much our last question. There's one that flew by talking about exam prices, and we kind of have nothing to do with that, so I can't answer that one. But let's see if there's any other ones that are flying in here. Oh, here's one. What is the best approach to prepare the CCIE collaboration written part, as there is not that much material?
Great question. I get that question a lot, and
yay for Cyril, who passed their CCNP last year.
Oh, congratulations. What I would recommend for that is, I'm trying to come up with the percentage. I'm guessing about 80 to 85% of the material on the CCA collaboration is in the official course material for CCNP collaboration. CCNP collaboration, it covers Communications Manager, it covers Cisco Unity Connection, it covers. Okay, it doesn't cover Cisco, it doesn't cover Unified Contact Center Express. That's one you're going to have to learn in addition to that. But Unity Express, that's covered. It's going to cover about 80%, and then you've got the extra stuff. Oh, it covers IM and Presence as well. But yeah, you're going to learn UCC on top of what you learned. But when I recert every so often, and that's kind of my go-to. I think that's my body of knowledge that I want to focus on. And I would really get good on that. Then I would recommend that anybody print out the exam topics and just go through there and kind of rate yourself. Okay, I'm good on this one, I'm solid on this one, don't waste your time on those. But if there's something that you're weak on, you're a little fuzzy on, focus your efforts there. And I'm telling you, most of those topics, they're going to be found back in your CCNP curriculum material.
Okay, and hi to Wasim, who said hello several times that we were talking. And then we've got someone here, Chris, saying he's almost at the renewal date for CCNP RNS. I don't believe in retaking the same test over and over. I always want to move forward. What would you go for next? Oh, and I think it was NP. It went really fast right there.
So, can you repeat the question? I missed the first part.
From what it was, is he has to recertify, and doesn't want to recertify in the same thing, because you can renew by getting something else. So I think it was asking what you would recommend. And then someone else had asked before that, they got into the cybersecurity scholarship program next year, and they want to know if they should try to get their security first before they get cyber.
That's a good question. Okay, the first one, I was focusing on the cybersecurity.
Sorry.
So what was the first one again?
The first one was renewing CCNP, routing and switching. What would you recommend if they don't want to just do the same thing again?
That's a great question, because, you don't have to, when you recertify, it doesn't have to be on what you already have your certification in. It can be another 300 level, or for CCA written 400 level exam. Again, instead of chasing what's popular now, I really believe that you should go after what you're most passionate about, because you're going to be digging into it, you're going to learn it better, you're going to retain it better, and you're just going to have more stamina going through that arduous process. So I would go after whatever you're most interested in right now. Now, the cybersecurity versus security question, I think you definitely want both, and in fact, we're looking right now at CCNA CyberOps.
Yeah. Right there. Yep, you can see that.
Yeah, that was kind of catching my eye. Yeah, I would probably do that in conjunction with the CCNA in security. I think that's going to give you a great foundation from there. And then if you want to go up to the next levels, decide which path you want to follow up. But yeah, I would get NA in security, and I would get the NA in CyberOps.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for being with us and spending your valuable time and talking to the community. And thank you all for joining with us, and let your friends know. And one question here saying, I have CCNP route, can I take CCDP?
To recertify, check Cisco's website, of course.
Go to the CLN.
Great communities out at CLN, by the way, to ask those questions. My understanding is if it's a 300 level exam, you can recertify with any other 300 level exam.
Okay, great. Well, thank you all for being with us. Thank you so much, Kevin, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you at the next Cisco Live.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.